And we are live. Happy Monday. Feel like I was just here. That's because I was on Friday, but happy to be back for what is probably the actual start of the year. I know obviously January 1st was last week, but I have the vibe, and I think everyone else does too, that today is actually day one of 2026. I know a lot of folks still have their kids at home, which is so nice, but their new year probably won't start until Tuesday or Wednesday this week when those kids get back in school. Beef is pumped. I'm pumped too. Today's day one of our very first training cycle of the new year, spring training, January, February, March. This baseline week that we're doing is setting the tone for all the things that we're going to be working on this cycle. So, building a foundation of strength with some simple but often overlooked lifts, the back squat, deadlift, and bench press. You think you know how to do them, but often all of us need to clean up our technique and just work on getting a little bit stronger in those lifts. And then also building some, base gymnastic strength. On Wednesday, we're going to do lots of pull-ups and push-ups and double unders. So things that are often written off as simple, but a lot of us need to work on it in order to do, all the other crazy cool shit that we do, kipping pull-ups, muscle-ups, thrusters, all the things start with what we're working on this cycle. So perfect week to get into the gym and get started. I talked about it on Friday, how you do not have to get fit in order to come work out at OxFit. We are very used to having beginners come into class, handing them an empty barbell and just starting from scratch. So if you've got a buddy that's been saying that they're not ready for OxFit, they can't do that, they are going to hurt themselves. I did CrossFit 2 years ago and I hurt my shoulder, whatever people bullshit they say, bring them to class, let them try it out, and we'll prove them wrong. So yeah, get your friends in the gym this week, next week. It's never too late. At some point in the cycle, you guys can bring some people on in. But if you're watching, I think it's just Beefy watching. Beefy, what are you working on in the new year? What are some goals you have? I shy away from the words resolution because we pride ourselves on being the anti-resolution gym. I would love it if everybody went into 2026 feeling like they were just, keeping on with the same goals they have. But for a lot of people, holidays were crazy busy. They were stressful. So really 2026 is a fresh start. And I know a lot of us have some new goals and new things we're working on, which is exciting. So if you're watching this, you want to drop it in the comment, let me know what you're looking forward to getting better at or something you're leaving behind in 2025. Beefy is working on strength, bigger and stronger. Surprise, surprise. Who would have guessed? No, I'm just kidding. I know she's going to get jacked this year. She's going to get huge. But yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about coming on today. Is there's nothing wrong with wanting 2026 to, be a fresh start, be a new year. I hear Beefy laughing in the other room because the podcast is delayed. But I think, in today's age, we all have these phones in our hands, just constant information in front of our face. It can get a little messy when we're trying to figure out how to reach our goals. And for most people, it's lose weight, it's get fitter, it's feel better, it's make more money, all of these things. But I was really overwhelmed, over the past couple weeks with the ads and everything that were being targeted to me on my social media, and even stuff that I fell victim to about these quick fixes and ways to make 2026 the year that you lose those 5 pounds, or you do this or you do that. So in addition to what you're working on, if you're watching, let's drop some of the things in the comments that you get advertisements for a way to make your body better. So just to read off the list, I wrote them down here, things that popped up on my phone. So of course, every variation of a GLP-1 you can imagine, which I'm not going to get into the GLP-1 conversation, obviously necessary for some people, not so necessary for other people. But the specific ads I'm getting are so specific. They're targeted towards women in their 20s, my age, women that don't have children, not struggling with obesity. The ad specifically said, just want to lose those pesky 5 pounds. If you're a 28-year-old woman and you do not have a chronic illness or struggling with obesity, you do not need to be ingesting or injecting yourself with a GLP-1 to lose 5 pounds. Point blank, period. You don't need to do it. There's so many other things that you could do before needing to do that. But that does come from this new trend of, people wanting to be skinny again. That's the new trend. In 5 years, people are going to want big butts and big boobs again. It comes in waves. But in addition to that, I got an ad for some turmeric juice for gut health and bloating. It's like a shot, not like injection shot, like you drink it every morning. Colostrum powder, super popular right now. Once again, gut health, bloating. Liquid creatine, which I do think everyone should take creatine. Liquid NAD+, which helps with like cellular repair recovery. And then some like mushroom powder for sleeping. So like so many things are just like getting put on me, making me feel like I need to buy it. And I almost fell for it. I went to the website for the colostrum powder because it was like, if you struggle with, fluff in your midsection, it's probably your gut health. And if you take this, you're going to have a flat stomach. No. I know why I have fluff in my midsection. I was eating chips and queso and handfuls of gummy bears every 15 minutes this weekend. So it's not a gut health bloating problem. I ate like an asshole. And a lot of us, that's just the bottom line. You're eating like an asshole and you're treating your body like shit. And that's not to, like make fun of people. It's just the truth. Like if you don't take care of your body, you're not going to look good. So we're being sold all of these things that are such a quick fix to make our stomachs flatter, to make us sleep better, to make us bigger, smaller, whatever it is. But there is absolutely nothing in this world that you can take as a daily dose that will magically make your gut healthy, make your body how you want it to look, sleep and recovery at 100% or happier. Maybe some of those things can fix some of those things. But if you don't have a foundation of some essential habits, or if you don't just accept some universal truths about health and weight loss, you will constantly be fighting for control over your body. So I want to get into the things that I know actually work and what we should all be keeping in mind right now when we're so tempted to pull out our credit card and order this supplement or order that powder that we drink every morning. For the vast majority of us, those things are not necessary. And you just have to accept the fact that you have to eat better, you have to work out, and you have to sleep. So yeah, there's no quick fix. So the first point I want to make is that consistency beats perfection every single time. Results that you want are not going to come from perfect weeks. So if you woke up today and you said, every single day for the next 3 months, I'm going to drink this every morning, I'm going to work out at this time, I'm going to eat this way, and that's just not realistic. If you weren't doing those things last month, how are you going to do something completely different every single day and keep up with it? So we just need consistency. And it just means showing up over and over again. If you fall off one day, it's not over. You just do your best to get back on track. And, missing workouts or going out to eat and messing up your diet or having a day where you just couldn't stop snacking, that doesn't ruin your progress. It does if you allow that to just cause you to quit. So your body is going to respond better to patterns, not single decisions. So you need to ask yourself, what's a habit that I can repeat about 80% of the time? Because I know if I can do it about 80% of the time, I can keep up with that all year long, because we're all going to have days where we fall off. So you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. And remembering also that if we are, working out the way that we probably should, which is resistance training, so building muscle, your body composition and your strength, levels are going to change more than the scale does. So the scale doesn't measure your muscle gain. It doesn't measure how well your metabolism has improved. It doesn't measure your energy. And building muscle often means the scale moves a little bit slower, but you'll notice your body starting to look and perform better. So I want you to keep that in mind. If all you're doing is waking up every day and stepping on the scale and you have no other ways to measure your progress, you need to be tracking your workouts. You need to be taking progress photos at the same time every week or every 2 weeks, something that you can reflect on rather than a scale that's going to change every single day, depending on if you're a woman, where you're at in your cycle, the amount of water weight you're hanging on to. All of those things can make that scale change rapidly, but the amount of muscle mass you have and the amount of progress you're making is not always going to be reflected there. So the next thing is that I want people to remember that calories matter, but context matters more. So we all know that if you eat in a calorie deficit, yes, you are going to lose weight. So the laws of thermodynamics cannot be argued with, but the types of food you're eating are going to affect so much more. So 2 people could both start at 200 pounds. Those people could both be in a calorie deficit and they could lose 25 pounds, but they might be looking and feeling completely different. So the amount of protein you're eating, fiber, the food quality, all of those things are going to influence how hungry you get, how well you recover after workouts, how tempted you are to binge. So extreme restriction is going to lead to not consistent habits. Like I said before, consistency is better than perfection. So just remembering that the answer is not always just eat less and lose weight. It's also eat a little less, but make sure we're eating the right things or enough of the right things. And that's where, having someone be a coach is so beneficial. Everything I've talked about, the consistency, having multiple ways to measure progress, having guidance on how to eat real food. They sound simple and they're things that we should all understand, but it's okay if you need help remembering those things or implementing those things into your life. And that's what we do here at Oxfit with our clients every single day. I ask them, hey, what's your meal prep this week? Is there anything I can help you with? Give you some ideas. Hey, look at this picture of you this week versus 2 weeks ago. Have you noticed how, sculpted your arms are getting, or how, you're losing weight in your midsection? And often people say, oh, no, I didn't notice that. So having a coach to help guide you through these things is so beneficial to the long-term game, because we're going to help you not be perfect. We're going to help you be consistent. And being consistent for an extended period of time can be difficult. So having someone help you is not a failure. It's just making sure that you're going to follow through. Now, more focused on our workouts. Progressive overload is non-negotiable. So if you do the same workouts this year that you did last year and you did the year before, you're going to be staying the same forever. So the body only adapts, the body only continues to improve the way it looks if it's challenged a little bit more than before, a little bit more than last week, a little bit more than last month. And this applies to lifting heavier or trying to do more reps in 1 minute than you did the last round, having better form, being more consistent in the way that you show up and you perform in your workouts. And that can be hard to do on your own. We like to do what we know. I go in my garage and I get on the bike for 30 minutes and then I do 20 push-ups and I do 20 sit-ups and I do that every single morning. Well, that's great. But if you have goals to change the way your body looks, you cannot keep doing the same exact thing over and over again every single day. You have to have variance in your routine, and you have to be implementing a little bit of progressive overload or a little bit of challenge every day. And that's why going to a class is great, because you have a coach there to guide you. You have a workout that's written on the board. You have levels ready for you to choose from. So it's very easy for you to just walk in and know that that point is going to take care of itself. And I think that's why people benefit so much from coming to in-person classes here at OxFit, in addition to having someone helping you with your nutrition, with your habits, all of those things. Also remembering that fat loss or weight loss is not linear. Plateauing, stalling, or having fluctuations are completely normal. Hormones, water retention, stress, recovery, all of that affects short-term results. So long-term success comes from trusting the process and not being emotional about every single weigh-in or bad workout you have, or a day you woke up feeling a little tired and fluffy. You can't expect it to constantly be like this. It's going to be up and down, but overall, it's going to trend upward if you just trust the process. And, if you put some habits and, some guidelines for yourself in place in January, and by mid-February, you feel like it's not really working, and you do that every single year, what if you had just waited until April or May or June? Those things might have evened themselves out, and you would have finally gotten the results you were looking for. Now, this next point is something I think we all struggle with. We do not need more information. We need more execution. We don't need more supplements and products and this and that. We need more action. And I think a lot of us get, I think they call it the analysis paralysis, or you spend weeks prepping and planning and this and that, or, oh, I can't start this week. I didn't go grocery shopping this weekend, or, oh, I'm traveling for work next month. I can't join the gym right now. I need to wait until I get everything in order. You just have to start. Go to a workout. Eat a little bit better next meal, even if you didn't go grocery shopping. Make one better decision when you go out to eat. The gap is not knowledge. The gap is not preparation. The gap is not planning. It is just applying it, just starting, doing something. So if you take anything away from this, if you're watching, is that doing something is better than doing nothing. You don't need to read another self-help book. You don't need to watch another YouTube video about how to work out the right way. You don't need to buy some diet plan off the internet and then research it and compare it to something else and price match this and all of that. You just need to start. Walk into the gym, walk into OxFit, talk to us, tell us what your goals are, and just do one workout. And then come back the next day and do another workout. And then we're going to add one habit that you can manage for a week. And those things are going to build on each other. And it's all about just taking action. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck. So if you were someone last year that said, I think I'll be ready in January. If you're feeling ready, great, let's go. If you're still not feeling ready, I don't think you ever will. Let's still go. Let's start. And we're going to end with the fact that there is no finish line. Health and strength are not a 30-day challenge. It's not an 8-week challenge. The goal is never to be done. You are never going to hire a personal trainer or hire a coach, work with them for 8 weeks, and then say goodbye and be done. That's just not how it works. The goal is to build a life and build a routine and build habits that you don't need to escape from, that you don't need to be done with. The most successful people that we see coming through the doors here at OxFit are not focused on being done at this point in the game. They're focused on who are they becoming. I want to be an athlete. I want to be someone that wakes up at 5 a.m. and works out. I want to be someone that works out 3 days a week, 4 days a week, whatever it is. It has to be an identity shift. You have to be a person that this is the way I eat. This is what I order when I go out to dinner. This is my workout schedule. And it has to be something that you're okay with keeping around. And I think that is hard for a lot of people to understand, that unlike all of those things I talked about a few minutes ago, these quick fixes the ingestibles, the injectables, none of that is going to fix it for the long term. So you have to be okay with creating a life that you can sustain for forever. And that can be kind of scary to people, especially when they think, I don't like to work out. I don't like eating like that. I would love to prove you wrong, because I think myself, the other OxFit coaches, we have coached people through that transition and proved them wrong. They like coming to the gym. They love the community they've built. They like the way they grocery shop on Sundays. And yes, they still go on vacation. They still go out to eat with their friends, all of these things. But that is because those people have learned to accept these universal truths about staying strong and keeping that excess weight off. And they've built a life around those habits that doesn't involve all of these sneaky, expensive, quick fixes. So just some food for thought for all of us as we start our baseline week spring training cycle today. Don't get caught up in all the expensive shit you get ads for online. Don't pay for it. If you haven't mastered a 80% clean eating routine, if you're not working out 3 to 4 days per week, if you can't sleep for 7 to 8 hours uninterrupted at night, there are so many things that we could fix to improve the way you look, the way you feel, before we jump to mushroom powder for sleeping. I'm looking at what I wrote down, or something crazy like that. So I hope you guys have an awesome Monday. If you're watching this and you feel like you need some guidance, reach out to me, Coach Caitlin, Coach Ant, Coach Lauren. We are always here. We're always ready to help. And I hope you guys finish baseline week strong. I will see you in the gym. Let's go.